But that day, literally that day, no one had any idea what we were going to be told.
I worked for Kaiser since 1998, but I started off at the appointment center.
I was a department secretary at Kaiser Permanent call center, and before department secretary, I was a customer service representative.
And then I got hired as member services call center for Kaiser still.
We took calls and took answers about the health insurance plan, getting people to become Kaiser members, explaining all of their benefits to them and how the plan works.
If you had questions about your benefits, claims, billing, I was the person that you spoke with. If you want to file a complaint, I was the person that you spoke with. And I was 800 number, and so I did that for 12 years for Kaiser. And then they decided that they were no longer going to have our call center in Stockton.
We have a director, but his director was there with him behind, and then the managers were all around and all of us, and we're like, what's going on? What's going on? And then she just announced, we're gonna be closing this call center in a year. Everyone's like, what? I was like, you know what? I wanna move up. I wanna be on the quality assurance team. I wanna move up a step from being a call center rep. And it was like that week, I had already had an interview, I had already tested, I was just waiting to see if I was gonna be chosen. But they closed the whole department. So, I mean, I worked hard, not to benefit me. I was gonna be promoted, but now that was taken away. And all of that was just running through my mind that whole day. And we didn't even get to stay at work. They were like, just go home. We're gonna end the day. The director actually said, we're closing this department. The coding department's moving in. You're all gonna get a chance to, if you're certified, you're all gonna get a chance. When our union reps went to go negotiate now our next steps, they were the ones that negotiated our education. How were we gonna do that? How would they break it down? They didn't have opportunities right away. They gave us a packet they were like, okay, you can all leave now. And they were handing us our envelopes. I was like, is my check in there? Because I just want my check I just want to get out of here. I was so mad. But in the package, it had like, if you want to cash out or you want to retire, all this stuff. But there was nothing in there about your next steps for education until later.
It was all paid for through Kaiser and my union. So normally it would have been in the thousands of dollars to get trained. And I heard maybe at least 18 months of training to be coder, classes up to 18 months. I was able to take a boot camp for 6 to 8 weeks and pass the state exam to become a certified coder.
The requirement was you had to pass your certification, the CPC. CPC stands for Certified Professional Coder. To do that, you have to study the whole process from evaluation and management, which is like a regular office visit. You have to study all of the specialties, and then you take a test just for that. So once you pass that, you're considered certified, and that's usually the first step for an entry-level position. Most places now require that you be at least that certified.
Because we found out that the same building our call center was at was going to now become a coding department. And so you had to be certified and trained for coding. So I was able to get trained and pass the state certificate to become a coder.
In my cohort, we were trained through a school. It was really just a man and 2 teachers, right? So the main teacher and then 2 assistant teachers. That was the school. And they gave us a whole curriculum for, I want to say 6 to 8 weeks, because it wasn't very long. But we studied for that duration every day, almost just like going to work. We went and studied, learned and studied, took our quizzes. And in that time, which was, I know it was over Christmas and New Year's, because by the end of January, we took our test, and I was able to pass it. But it's like a 5-hour, almost a 6-hour test. We didn't have to pay for any of that training or for our books or even to take the test.
We were still getting paid our hourly wage, and so the training was all paid for through the union.
What we do normally is code for the professional side, so all the doctors. But the facility is different because then you're coding for what the nurses do, and you might be coding for, for the use of a room. So it's just a little different.
I get the services and patients' medical records for the services and take a look at what they had done. And I use my coding books and transfer the services into a code, enter it into the computer, and submit the bill. And that goes to the billing department. And the billing department sends out bills to our members for services they received.
The demand has gone up a lot, actually. When we first started out, the reason why Kaiser did that is because they didn't have anybody to do their coding. They were actually outsourcing, and they didn't want to outsource anymore because they feel they have better quality control if they train their own people. So that's what they decided to do, is train their own people and have their own department. Dignity and other places, they're finding that they want to have their own coding departments also, so they're hiring too, so that it is getting a lot more in demand.
I've always told people anyone can do this, but what I found from the people who have tried, you really need to have a grasp of your medical terminology and your anatomy and physiology.
You can work anywhere from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you can start anywhere from 6 to 9:30 in the morning. Anytime during that time you can start.
They allow us to come home, or we can work at the office, but because of the kind of work we do, you don't need to be in office. Everything is within our computer.
At the time, they were closing the call center, and our union gave us options to retrain for either medical coding or medical assistant. So coding was one of them, and I chose that because I wanted to be able to work from home. That was the only position that offered that opportunity. People choose not to work from home and just stay in the office. Even if we were in the office, you're still just you and the computer. I just earned my AA degree in legal secretary.
I worked interior design until I started at Kaiser, and I started for Kaiser in 2004. I think all I needed was a high school diploma, really.
You would need to first be certified, state certified as a coder. And in order to do that, you have to pass the state exam, which is 5.5 hours, I believe 120 questions. And that's where the training, a boot camp, a course of medical billing coding you would need to take.
If anybody wanted to do this, you could purchase the curriculum from either AAPC or a HEMA, but it's several $100s.
I was able to obtain it that way, which is kind of a special circumstance because normally you have to have 3 years of coding before you can be hired in many places. But because I was a Kaiser employee with many years of seniority and with the union to help me, I was able to become a coder that way.
I've always told people anyone can do this.